You know, I really like sharing fun facts, and New Horizons has loads of neat details worth sharing, which is why I wanted to make this video. That said, here's a real life fun fact. More than ever, internet privacy is important, and the internet isn't always safe. Luckily, a VPN can be used to keep you and your privacy safe, which is why I'd like to talk about today's sponsor, NordVPN. Perhaps you've heard of NordVPN before, but what actually is a VPN? Well, it's a virtual private network, which is a service that redirects your internet traffic through a remote server, hiding your IP address and encrypting any data you send or receive. So whether you're using public Wi-Fi or just browsing memes at home, a VPN will keep you safe. NordVPN does this by using its super speedy servers. There's almost 5,500 of them across 60 different countries. They also double encrypt your data, sending your traffic through 2 VPN servers for that added bit of security. Setting it up takes no time at all, and it's compatible with Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and there's even a lightweight Chrome extension. If you're curious, NordVPN allows for unlimited bandwidth, and you can have up to 6 simultaneous connections. I've used their service for almost a year now, so I'm speaking from experience when I say it's quick and easy to use. You can get NordVPN for 70% off. That's just $3.49 a month with their most cost-efficient plan, with an additional month free, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just click the link below to head over to nordvpn.com/dpad or use code DPAD. I think that about covers it, so let's get on to the video. So, one of the coolest things about Animal Crossing as a whole is how well it pulls off its real-life 24-hour system. There's always been different music for each hour, changing seasons, and so on, but the attention to detail even extends to easily missable things, like the in-game moon actually matches the phases of the real moon in real life, which is pretty neato. Also, you've no doubt heard those jingles that play at the top of every hour. If you have a fountain placed out in your town, you can actually see that it performs a special little bit of waterworks along with those hourly jingles. Of course, the time system also affects the shops, making them close at 9 PM for the Able Sisters and 10 PM for Nook's Cranny. Nook Cranny's music actually changes in the last 10 minutes to a surprisingly classical tune. While it's not the same song, I believe this is a reference to a common practice where stores and restaurants in Japan play a song called, I'm going to ruin this, Hotaru no Hikari, or Glow of a Firefly, at the end of a business day to usher out their customers. Bonus fun fact, that song is commonly heard during graduation ceremonies, and actually takes its tune from the Scottish folk song Auld Lang Syne, again probably ruined that, which is traditionally sung at the end of New Year's gatherings. The other shop, the Able Sisters, doesn't have any special closing music. It does, however, have a couple of pretty swell characters. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the blue spiky-haired Mabel, the outgoing face of the shop. Sable, on the other hand, probably gets overlooked by most players. That's pretty understandable because she's pretty hard to talk to at first, mainly brushing off the player to focus on her work. Like games past, if you talk to her on multiple days, she'll eventually open up and grow to consider you a friend. While the interactions are pretty wholesome, I won't spoil them by sharing them here. I will, however, mention that after she's opened up, she'll eventually gift you the first of many bundles of fabric patterns that you can use when customizing certain pieces of DIY furniture. Also, whenever you get a new category of pattern for her, it actually matches the one she's currently working on at the moment, which is a neat little detail. Related to fabrics, certain pieces of traditional clothing like the kimono or hakama actually change whenever you pull out a ladder, enter the Island Designer app, or wear a backpack. The sleeves will be pulled up and you'll see a new tatsuki, or sash, that appears tucking in the sleeves. They didn't have to add that, but I'm glad they did, that's pretty neat. Changing things up, as you may know, before villagers move out they'll have all their belongings in boxes for a day. This is to let players have a chance to say farewell, or visiting players to stop by and convince them to move to their island. That's why, if you've ever uttered the phrase, Raymond is in boxes, you may have heard blood-curdling screams off in the distance. Another way to get villagers onto your island is to use amiibos to invite them to the campsite. After 3 visits, they can be persuaded to move in, which is how I have lovely villagers like Rold, Pietro, and Bob. All Animal Crossing amiibo or amiibo cards can be scanned, but not all will show up at the campsite. Special ones like Kick, Sable, and Blathers, and so on, will decline, though you can acquire their portrait for your troubles. Scanning and attempting to summon Isabelle and Tom Nook is particularly fun. Isabelle briefly considers the idea before declining, explaining that her to-do list is a mile long. Tom Nook, on the other hand, dismisses the idea while pointing out that he's already so close by because he's literally in the same room as you. That's not spooky at all. There are of course some villagers that can't be summoned because they're too new to have amiibos. There's Sherb, Judy, Dom, Anime Cat, and some others I don't feel like listing, and Audie. That last one's name might be inspired by an Animal Crossing legend. In January of 2019, a video was uploaded looking at an 87-year-old grandma's Animal Crossing New Leaf town that had over 3,500 hours poured into it. The video was massively popular, currently sitting at over 12 million views. That woman's name is Audrey, with her villager name being Audie. In most other languages, Audie the wolf's name is some variation of Monica, with only the English and Dutch using Audie. While I haven't seen any official confirmation of this name connection being intentional, I like to think that it was. On my island, Audie is one of many villagers that spends their time meandering through the town I've poured hundreds of hours into. Sure, none of them lift a finger to help with renovations, but at least they always respond to any reactions I send their way. A wave, a smile, and so on. For example, if you use the apologetic bow reaction, villagers usually respond with a simple bow of their own. Over in the airport, Orville is a bit different. Whenever he sees you bow, he'll respond with one of his own, but his eyes look like he's going to cry. According to the official Animal Crossing New Horizons companion guide, this is because he never wants a patron of Dodo Airlines to feel unhappy. He's so sweet. Next up, let's focus on the museum, which is where all donated bugs, fish, fossils, and art can be found. It's also the home to Blathers, the museum's nocturnal curator. If you've donated more than a few living specimens, you've probably noticed that Blathers has a blatant bias. He'll discuss fish with reverence and respect, but bugs with disdain and disgust. Well, this even appears when showing off the two types of creatures near Blathers. Like any other islander, Blathers will applaud your fish. Unlike anyone else, he'll cower in fear whenever you show off bugs. That's pretty unfortunate because the next fun detail contributed by a viewer can be found deep in the bug exhibit. In the lab to the right of the fleas is a sign with a very small portrait of a past Animal Crossing character, Nat. If you don't know, Nat was the green chameleon who'd host the bug off events in both City Folk and New Leaf. It's nice that he got a little reference, seeing as how he's been replaced by Flick, which may or may not be Nat's son. Over in the fossil wing of the museum, we have a completed collection. That's not a fun fact, I just wanted to brag. That said, the museum has some nice spots like this, where you can stand to view bigger pieces. In the Cenozoic section, the farthest right room, there's an evolutionary tree ending in a number of different silhouettes. All types of villagers are present except humans. That's because we have our own little blank spot on the far right with our own little spotlight. So cute. Moving over to the aquatic section, most of the fishies are just swimming around doing their own thing, but not the guppies. Those purple little boys will always swim over and nibble at the glass towards your head, no matter where you sit. On that topic, before you donate fish, you gotta catch them. When you do, the player will repeat a single kinda punny phrase. Some are normal, like, I caught an oarfish, I hope I catch more fish, and others will haunt our nightmares. I caught a sea bass.
No wait, it's at least a C+.
The squid is unique in that it has multiple different phrases. Off the hook, and I had an inkling I might, are no doubt references to Splatoon. Bonus fun fact, multiple Animal Crossing games and both Splatoon games share Hisashi Nogami as a producer. Onwards, in patch 1.2.0, we got the shady art dealer Red. His boat will show up once a millennia, and you can actually purchase one piece of art per visit. He has both fake and genuine pieces. While this nugget of information won't help you while in a shop, if you examine the two variations of the same piece, you can see that the genuine art always has the authentication papers on the back. Next, a neat fact that a viewer brought to my attention is that all of the feedback given during island evaluations are actually made by specific characters. I never actually noticed this myself because I was always too busy mashing through the dialogue to figure out if my new freighter's worth of flowers were enough to appease Isabelle. Anyways, you can get feedback from characters like Flick, CJ, Gulliver, Wisp, Celeste, those sort of people. It's pretty neat. Another viewer submitted fact is also a bit of an Easter egg. One of the many DIY recipes you can receive that's made with flowers is the Tulip Surprise Box. This little piece of furniture has 3 variations. Once interacted with, a little princess will spin and pop out. If you look close, going by the color scheme, they resemble Peach, Daisy, and I think possibly Rosalina. Another piece of furniture that holds secrets is the TV. I'm sure this is common knowledge to Animal Crossing veterans, but there is actually a strict schedule that the TV follows. As Cosmichu pointed out, there's reports on days at 6:15, 7:45, and 11:45 AM, which display the weather forecast for the day. The evening reports at 6:30 and 10:45 PM show the forecast for the following day, which is handy if you want to know when to expect rain or even meteor showers. Aside from those, there's also little fun shows like comedy, drama, nature, and so on. Most are 4 to 5 little animated slides accompanied by a simple tune. There's also one special program that can be seen in the wee hours between Friday night and Saturday morning. Following 2.5 hours of static, at exactly 3:33 a.m. there will be a single minute of a strange alien broadcast, followed by more static. It's not much, but it's a fun little event everyone should stay up for at least once. Finally, I've saved the most mundane attention to detail for last, which is probably why it's actually my favorite. Put simply, fans placed in a room will affect nearby plants and fabrics. This even applies to clothes you're wearing. If you listen closely enough, you can actually hear the noise of the fabric flapping in the wind. I mean, yeah, of course wind affects things, that makes complete sense, but this is a video game. They didn't have to code that, or the moon phases, or the Nook's Cranny music, but they did. All of these little features and details that we've looked at, and the mountains more that I didn't include, are what makes Animal Crossing New Horizons special. I think we'll finish things there, so thank you very much for watching. Also, big thanks to my channel members for their support, with especially big thanks to Chrissy Cuntris, Pseudonymous, The Weird Gamer, Thomas the Dank 199, and Achilles Rhodes. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, maybe subscribe, and comment down below any fun facts that I didn't include that you want to include. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video.